Hey everybody, Delta 69 again for Paul Productions. And along with our line of reviews we're doing, I mentioned in our very first one about the Becker, sorry about the dirt here. Sometimes when you do reviews of stuff that's actually used, you get dirt all over your place. Sorry about that. On our first review, doing our review of the Becker Knife and Tool BK7, I mentioned that I also was going to do a review of the Glock field knife. In front of me is a vintage 1990s Glock G81 field knife. Excuse me. Ta-da. You can pick these up anywhere from the cheapest I've seen them, you know, factory seconds and stuff. You're running $17 to $30. I haven't priced them as of late, but expect on average about 20 to 25. Excuse me. The knife itself, like any of the other Glock products, is pretty well made. It comes in a Glock plastic sheath, or you know, composite. Like I said, I'm not real big on the actual specs, so bear with me. It's got a locking mechanism where the knife actually will lock into place. You can see, let me see if I can get it there at the right angle. It's got positive drainage in the bottom, so if you get it wet, it's going to drain out. It's also got a lanyard place on the back of the sheath there where you place a lanyard. The way it hooks onto your belt is your belt can either be threaded through, or this can be pushed aside, snapped open, and it can be woven into your gear. The only downfall with this sheath, as you can see a little bit, sorry what my angles, is that it kind of leans back a little bit. After time, it kind of bends that way, I guess from wearing it on my hip for a while there. I've wrapped it in 550 and got some bicycle inner tube to keep my 550 from unraveling on it. Again, I wore this, you know, mainly on my kit or when I was in the woods, and we all know how important 550 was. Like I said, bare bone sheath, but I've had it since the, you know, like I said, since the mid 90s, and it hasn't broke. I haven't snapped this off. Belt loop hasn't broke. It hasn't broke right here, which when I first bought the knife, I figured this would be the main weakness of it all right here, and it hasn't done it. As you can see, I'm bending it back and forth right now, and it's snapping right back in place. Same thing with this. I figured this would, where the belt loop attaches, I figured would break, being a weak point. It hasn't. The only malfunction that I've ever had with this knife sheath is where the knife itself is getting tweaked while it is attached to your belt or your web gear and it gets tweaked at an angle like so, and it'll pop loose, but it has never come off of my belt or my web gear. The knife itself is like any other knife out there on the market. It's built almost more of a fighting knife than a field knife, to be honest with you, even though they call them field knives. This, like I said, this is the G81, and the reason why is it has a sawback. The blade is about the same length as the Becker's, about 7 and between 6.5 to 7. Again, sorry about not being a, you know, spec whore. It's finished just like the Glocks, like their pistols. It holds up pretty good. Like I said, I've had this since the mid 90s, and it's starting to lose its finish. I don't use it as much as I used to. Like I said, with the Becker, I'm not really into big knives anymore. It does really good. It holds its edge very well. The saw itself is self-cleaning. Don't know how well you can see it or not, but I have used it to cut through wood, and it does cut. Where it locks in, you also got this, which is like, ooh, the can opener or whatever. You know, it works. Everything on here. The only problem I would say is if you do get this knife extremely wet and don't dry it out, it will start to rust. There is starting to get some up here. I used to wear this specifically when I was doing like 3 and 4 day canoe trips because of the fact that everything on it is plastic. And at the time, you know, in the mid 90s when you know, Glocks were all the rage, and or still are sometimes, about the composites and the finishing they were using not rusting. But where the finish wears, it will rust, so you need to watch that a little bit. It does have an area in the back where you can drill through and put a lanyard, but it's not all the way through. It doesn't have a strake on the back on the pommel like the Becker does, but I have hit stuff on the back here, and it hasn't seemed to damage it any at all. If you can't get a Becker, I would go with one of these. I probably would skip the sawback version, just for the simple reason of I mean, it works, but I mean, it's kind of gimmicky, but like I said, it does work. That's the Glock knife, guys. There's not much to it. It's pretty simple. It's kind of like their pistols. It's not, like I said, like the Becker with the chopping and stuff. This doesn't have the heft of the Becker. So don't expect to go chopping through stuff like everybody else does with their big field knives. This will do it, but like I said, it just doesn't have the heft to do it. I mean, it is built good, but it's just not heavy enough. It'd probably be more something like you'd put on your, like I said, like your web gear, your fighting gear, your line 2 gear. For $20 something, it can't be beat. So, and that's the G81 Glock knife. And like I said before, these are reviews of items that we've used over the years, and just wanted to give you an honest rundown of products that do work, that don't cost an arm and a leg, and won't let you down. So I'm Delta 69 for Paw Productions, and thanks for watching.